Thousands of years ago, on a distant planet, lived these watery creatures called the Ancients. And the Ancients had these 7 gems called the Chaos Emeralds. And the Chaos Emeralds are basically the most powerful things in all the universe. So the Ancients get attacked by an entity known as the End. Yeah, that's literally what it's called. So the Ancients have to evacuate their planet, and the Chaos Emeralds get a signal from another gem called the Master Emerald that's just chilling on Earth. So they go to Earth. But there's something strange about Earth, because every few thousands of years, a creature called Dark Gaia destroys the Earth, and its counterpart, Light Gaia, has to fight him, and they go back to sleep for another few thousand years. Luckily, the Ancients got to Earth when the Gaias were still sleeping, so they used the Chaos Emeralds to power up these things called Titans, just in case the End decides to come back. And they were right. Using the Titans, they fight back against the End, but the End ends up wiping out nearly all of the Ancients. But the remaining Ancients end up evolving into these creatures called the Chao. And living along the Chao are the Echidna tribe, and they help guard the Chaos and Master Emeralds. And an Echidna girl named Tikal ends up getting really close with the Chao. Unfortunately, Tikal's father, Chief Pachacamac, decides he's done protecting the emeralds, so he sends the Echidnas to steal the emeralds, and Tikal steps in the way, stopping him. But her father doesn't care and just shoves her out of the way, and slaughtering any Chao in their way. But there's a mutated Chao resembling their old ancient form, called Chaos, and he's not happy that they're doing this, so he kills a ton of the Echidna. Tikal sacrifices herself to seal Chaos into the Master Emerald, and where the Echidnas live, Angel Island, gets put into the sky, and the Echidnas pledge to guard the Master Emerald because of what happened. And the Echidna tribe starts to die out, leaving only one boy to guard the Master Emerald, and that boy is named Knuckles, the Echidna. Much later, there's a scientist named Gerald Robotnik who lives on the space colony Ark, trying to make the ultimate life form to cure his sick granddaughter, Maria Robotnik. Gerald starts off with making the Bio-Lizard, but this ends up being an unstable creation, so it gets locked away in the Ark. Gerald ends up working together with this alien named Black Doom. Very trustworthy, right? Anyways, Gerald uses Black Doom's DNA to create the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog. And Shadow ends up becoming really close with Maria, and they become best friends. Unfortunately, there's a government agency called GUN, and they aren't chill about all these aliens being created. So Gerald finds this robot called a Jizoid, modifies it, and calls it Emerald, and gives it to GUN. But Emerald goes haywire and nearly kills Gerald, but Shadow is able to stop him because he's cool like that. But GUN is not cool like that, and attacks the Ark, and Maria tries to send Shadow to Earth, but right as she pulls the lever, she ends up being shot by a GUN soldier, and dying right in front of Shadow. And Shadow gets sent to Earth. Sadly, Gerald Robotnik also ends up dying, being killed by a firing squad. And Shadow doesn't spend a lot of time on Earth because he gets captured and locked away in a military base, stuck in stasis. Alright, got all that? Back on Earth, we have Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's a hedgehog with super speed who goes wherever the wind takes him. And he likes to help out animals. And this is Ivo Robotnik, aka Dr. Eggman, the other grandchild of Gerald Robotnik. And he's trying to kidnap animals, so Sonic is able to stop him. This is Little Planet, and Dr. Eggman tries to chain it to Earth, so Sonic tries to stop him. But this is Amy Rose, a hedgehog who tries to follow Sonic wherever he goes. But she gets kidnapped by Metal Sonic. And Metal Sonic was created by Eggman, designed to rival Sonic's speed. But Sonic defeats Metal Sonic, saves Amy, and sends the Little Planet to back where it belongs. This is Miles Tails Prower, and using his 2 tails, he's able to keep up with Sonic, and Sonic and Tails become best friends. Unfortunately, Dr. Eggman is after those 7 Chaos Emeralds, but Sonic is able to get them first, and harnessing their power, he's able to become Super Sonic, an invincible, much faster form of Sonic, and basically just a Super Saiyan knockoff. Using this power, he sends Eggman to Angel Island, where he finds the Master Emerald, but it's being guarded by Knuckles, the Echidna I mentioned earlier. Eggman convinces Knuckles that Sonic is evil, so they end up working together, and so Sonic and Tails hear that some sus stuff is going on, so they go to investigate. But Knuckles is able to knock Sonic out of his super form and steals the Chaos Emerald. Knuckles ends up finding out that Eggman is actually evil though, so he ends up becoming friends with Sonic, and Sonic ends up becoming Hyper Sonic, an even more powerful version of Super Sonic, and he's able to get all the emeralds back. Now that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are bros now, they go on their next adventure, where Eggman teams up with the Phantom King, and they use the Phantom Ruby to warp space-time. But the Phantom King takes the Phantom Ruby for himself, so Sonic has to go super and he's able to defeat him, being sent across space-time, leaving Tails and Knuckles behind. And to where Sonic got sent to, I'll get to that later. But now we have the full crew, Amy, Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic. They go on an adventure where they find out Eggman is working with a bounty hunter named Fang. But Sonic goes super and saves the day again. But oh no, the Master Emerald broke, unleashing chaos back into the world. Chaos starts destroying the city, turning into perfect chaos. But Sonic goes super and defeats him. Meanwhile, Eggman is breaking into a military base where he finds Shadow the Hedgehog. And Shadow is pissed at the humans for what happened to Maria. So working together with Eggman and along with Rouge the Bat, they try to destroy the world. And it doesn't help that the old Bio Lizard is here too. But Sonic and his friends are able to talk some sense into Shadow and tell him Maria would want him to save the world. So both Sonic and Shadow go super and defeat the Bio Lizard. But Shadow ends up sacrificing himself and ends up sadly dying. Sonic ends up meeting Cream the Rabbit, who's trying to find her kidnapped mom. So Sonic goes super and ends up saving her mom. And Cream the Rabbit ends up becoming close friends with Amy and Big the Cat. Rouge the Bat breaks into Eggman's base, where she finds out Shadow is still alive, being brought back to life by Dr. Eggman. And Eggman also is reviving Metal Sonic. But it ends up turning on him, so Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles go super to defeat him. Remember Black Doom? Well, he's back and ready to fight Shadow, but Shadow goes super and kills him. Dr. Eggman finds that old Jizoid robot, Emerald, but just leaves him on the beach, where Sonic meets up with him, and they become good friends. But Shadow is not chill about this, because this is the same guy that destroyed the Ark, but it doesn't matter, because Eggman makes Emerald evil, so Sonic has to kill him. And it makes everyone sad. But don't be too down now, because Eggman made another Jizoid based off Emerald, but it betrays him, so Sonic and Eggman have to team up to defeat it. This is Blaze. She's from another dimension where she fights Eggman Nega. Sorry, I just don't trust myself with that word. And using the Soul Emeralds, which are basically this dimension's Chaos Emeralds, they travel to Sonic's dimension, which is bad because now there's 2 Eggmen now. So Blaze teams up with Sonic, and Sonic using the Chaos Emeralds becomes Super Sonic, and Blaze using the Soul Emeralds becomes Burning Blaze. Working together, they defeat both Eggmen. But Blaze gets sent to the future, where she meets Silver the Hedgehog, and they become close friends. Unfortunately, the future is like really screwed up. So this guy named Mephiles tells Silver that it was Sonic who caused this. So he sends them back in time. So back in the present, we have Princess Elise, who is celebrating the Festival of the Sun. But here's the thing about Princess Elise. She has a fire creature inside of her named Iblis, and if she ever cries, it will be unleashed upon the world, messing things up. So she has to go her whole life without ever crying, which is probably insanely hard for a teenage girl. But Eggman shows up to crash the parade. Luckily, Sonic shows up and begins to become really close friends with Elise, and Silver sees this all go down, and he's like, gotta go kill that guy. So he shows up to get Sonic, and somehow beats him up, and nearly kills him. But Amy is able to get in the way and protect Sonic. So Silver has some time to think, and he's like, maybe I shouldn't kill people. But it doesn't matter, because Mephiles shows up and literally just kills Sonic. And since Elise and Sonic had gotten so close, it causes Elise to start crying, which causes Iblis to be released, and Mephiles ends up merging with Iblis and becoming Solaris. Princess Elise is able to use the Chaos Emeralds to somehow bring Sonic back to life. So Sonic turns to his bro Shadow and his new bro Silver, and all 3 hedgehogs are able to go super and defeat Solaris. Alright, let's keep going. Eggman is in space doing evil stuff, so Sonic shows up to stop him, using his super form. And he does cook Eggman at first, but Eggman uses this machine to drain the Chaos Emeralds and turn Sonic into this.
Really? Got it this time, Eggman!
Bad timing. Remember that Dark Gaia guy I mentioned earlier? Well, time is up, and Dark Gaia has been released and starts destroying the Earth, and Sonic gets sent plummeting down to Earth. Somehow surviving the land, Sonic meets this small guy named Chip, and they start to bond. Spoiler alert, Chip is actually Light Gaia, the guy who's supposed to seal Dark Gaia away. So Chip and Sonic team up and seal away Dark Gaia. But unfortunately, Chip has to be sealed away too for another 1,000 or so years. Dr. Eggman is back again, in space again, and kidnapping small creatures again. But using the help of the Wisps, Sonic is able to keep Eggman stranded in space. So how does Eggman get out of space? Well, he finds this creature called the Time Eater, and he uses it to go find his past self. So the Eggmen send all of Sonic's friends to a place called White Space. So Sonic has to go to places he's been to find his friends. On a completely different part of White Space, Shadow finds out that due to the Time Eater, Maria and Gerald Robotnik are able to be brought back from the past. But also, Black Doom is able to be brought back from the past. So using his new powers, Shadow defeats Black Doom and sends Maria and Gerald back to their time. Meanwhile, Sonic meets his past self and they both go supersonic, defeating the Time Eater, both Eggmen, and sending everyone out of White Space and into their own time. Eggman goes to this place in the sky called the Lost Hex, where the Deadly Six live, and Eggman tries to be their leader, but they betray him. So Dr. Eggman joins Sonic's team, but he dies. Tails and Sonic beat the Deadly Six, but plot twist, Eggman is still alive, and he tries to kill Sonic, and obviously fails. Shadow beats up this guy called Infinite, and it makes him mad. So he joins Dr. Eggman, and using the Phantom Ruby, they revive Zavok, a member of the Deadly Six, Metal Sonic, and Chaos. All the villains destroy Sonic, and no one knows what happens to him. But Silver says this:
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. Sonic is gone, Amy. And
because of this, Knuckles forms the Resistance to fight against the villains, even recruiting this Avatar guy that everyone just calls Rookie. So remember when Sonic got sent through that portal? Well, it's because he got sent to the future, actually to help out. So turns out our Sonic is still alive, just in prison, but the Rookie is able to free him. But Infinite beats up Silver, but it doesn't matter because everyone teams up and is able to defeat all of the villains. And they kill Infinite, and Classic Sonic gets sent back to his timeline. And the Rookie decides to go on his own adventures. So remember the Ancients from like forever ago? Well, Eggman turns to their power and unleashes the Titans. Meanwhile, Knuckles is guarding the Master Emerald when he meets this girl named Sage, who is actually a creation of Dr. Eggman, and Sage traps Knuckles in one of these cyber prison things. Sonic finds himself on the Starfall Islands, where he finds out Amy is trapped in one of these cyber prisons. So he breaks her out, but all the cyber energy gets transferred into Sonic. Sage can't completely control the Titans, but can influence them. And since she was created by Eggman, she influences a Titan to attack Sonic. So Sonic realizes he just got cooked by a Titan. So he gathers the Chaos Emeralds, goes super, and defeats the Titan. Sonic is also able to beat all the other Titans. Not after freeing Knuckles and Tails though. With more cyber energy going into him, it ends up being too much, and the cyber energy ends up corrupting Sonic. But due to the help of Eggman, Sage, and Sonic's friends, Sonic is able to contain the cyber energy inside himself, and he's able to harness the energy and become Super Sonic 2, which is what I like to call it. And using this, he's able to defeat the last Titan. But remember the end, the thing that killed all the Ancients? Well, it's back, and it's ready to destroy the world and take the Chaos Emerald. But Sage, Amy, Knuckles, and Tails are able to hold the end back long enough for Sonic to get into Eggman's cannon and harness the cyber energy even more, becoming a cyber version of Super Sonic. And so Eggman shoots Sonic into space, defeating the end once and for all. Sonic the Hedgehog is able to reunite with his friends, and Dr. Eggman becomes a good guy, hopefully, and is able to go home a happy father to Sage. And that's currently where the Sonic lore is right now, and I don't want to keep you guys much longer, so let me know if I should do this again for when the next game comes out, and goodbye.